like, yeah, also, if you guys have questions, like, pop up and ask, because I usually have, might take me a second to pull something up, but I usually have resources for just about everything, approximately. So, almost everything. I can't answer every question, but I can certainly get some resources for most of them. I'm going to start with this one, because I just love the way that my internet connection is unstable. That was weird.
So how high is the sun? Like 4,000 feet, or?
So that's a complicated question. So when you look out at
the clouds.
Yep. Yeah, so there have been times when a plane would go up, and we have video of a plane actually catching the sun below it.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is, we also have footage with rockets that go up. There was that rocket that they shot up that hit that whatever substance, and then it kind of tilted into the liquid form of it. So you could see how it kind of started like it was floating rather than traveling up. So it hit like this thing. It kind of stopped, but then it started to kind of float. But when it turned over, you could see the sun and the moon were both above it, and I believe that thing went well over 120,000 feet. I know it was above that. Because most amateur weather balloons and rockets and all that kind of stuff, they go up to 120 to 170,000 feet. So the thing to me is, when you think about it and when you look at it biblically too, the light source was created before the sun and the moon were created. And my kind of interpretation is that they might be a parent sun. So when you think about like perspective, you see it looking a certain distance, but as you go up, it also goes up, because it's kind of like a visual thing. Now, I can't say for sure that's the answer, but it kind of seems odd to me how it looks like it's in that lower portion in the clouds and some footage, but then when you get footage of rockets going up that are amateur, it's above those, which are way higher than 3,000 feet. So it's definitely a complicated question, and that's why I'm kind of like, I'm pretty sure it's a parent sun, meaning it's not actually physically there as much as it's based on your visual perspective.
Oh, you're talking about like how people are seeing multiple suns?
No, that is another thing too, but that could also be explained by the reflection off of a firmament. I mean, that we don't know for sure, but that could be another thing. But no, this is just talking about the distance of it. Like we have people that have gone in planes and seen it lower, and then if you look at it and you do geometry based on the rays of it, you would get around 3,000 feet. So if you follow the rays and do the geometry, you're looking at about 3,000 feet, which sounds ridiculous, especially when you throw up a rocket and it's over 120,000 feet, which is why I usually try to say it's most likely an apparent sun, because it's in different positions based on where you're standing and your perspective on it. But I don't know, it's hard to explain. There's a lot of things that we can't necessarily answer because we don't have the tools necessary, because we don't have the money. We're not the ones that need to be proving ourselves. It's the people that have the access and the tools that really should be proving themselves. And they're the ones that can't prove anything other than give us Hollywood bullcrap CGI. So like, you don't have any actual science that proves anything you're saying. So there are things we can't disprove, though. But I like what this guy says. So you guys know the Earth curve formula, right?
What is it, like 0.666 feet per mile?
So it's 8 inches per mile squared.
Yeah.
So you square the mile first, and then it's 8 inches times whatever that squared mile is. So it would be 5 squared, so 25. So if it's like 5 miles, it'd be 5 miles squared, 25 times 8. So it's like an exponential. Because obviously if you're standing on the top of a ball, you're not going to be able to see what's on the bottom of the ball. Like there is a curve that you should not be able to see past, and that's that 8 inches per mile squared. And that's actually the mainstream answer. That is what they give us. And that's based on basically the 25,000 mile circumference of the Earth is what they base that on. But the problem is, and I'll play this little clip here for you because I love the way this guy puts it. So let's watch this real quick.
One, because this is probably one of my favourite points to make as a flat earther, especially when someone says there's no proof of flat earth. So I'll give you an example. We'll use Ranty and one of his images. So he has a picture of a clock tower at about 20 miles at Barrow in Furness, and it's just a picture of a clock. Now, as a flat earther, I look at this picture and say, clock at 20 miles. That's the end of my explanation. As a flat earther, I can make that statement. I'll say it again. Clock at 20 miles. Now, if you're a fundamentalist religion...
And the reason he puts it that way is because that should be literally physically impossible. You shouldn't be able to see that clock from 20 miles away. Not at all.
Zealot. Then that's not a clock at 20 miles. That would be a slightly looming, non-standard refraction hyena holographic projection of a clock from behind the reified edge of a sphere based on an R value and a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator to turn a clock which seems to be there into a clock which is not actually there. That's what you have to assert if you're a globehead. So it's not a clock, it's a holographic projection of a clock from behind the reified edge of an Earth curve based on a begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator. As opposed to me, that's a globehead explanation. I say clock, 20 miles.
You're the man, Nate. You are the man.
I think that has to be probably one of the strongest, arguments we have, because we have so much footage of things that we should not be able to see. We've got mountain ranges from, over 100 miles away that obviously should be, way past the curve, miles and miles below what you should be able to see. And then you get, I don't know which planes go up and do this, but you get planes that'll go up really high and they'll get, infrared scans. And we have infrared scans of these planes high enough up that can pretty much see country to country to country. The U-2 goes at, 2,000... miles. I don't know if it's a U-2. There's one of those planes that goes 2,000 miles per hour, basically. And if you think about that, so how much does that plane have to dip going that fast to travel across the Earth? Then you look at the video of these planes traveling across the Earth, and they're following a flat horizon line doing this the entire time. Same thing with those ships. They'll go across the Suez Canal for over 100 miles. Completely flat, because water finds its level. Let's see. I don't know which one of these have that. There's so many of them. Yeah, that was his. I wonder, let's see what else he's got on this one.
This world is not what...
Oh yeah, this is this is the other portion of that. Here we go.
This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. This will...
Yeah. I guess it's got a song to it, but this is their explanation. When someone took a picture of it, and they're like, hey, why can I see this far away? Shortly after, you got mainstream media popping up here. Oh, this is a mirage, and this is his explanation of it. So what that guy was saying earlier, you have to make all these ridiculous claims that you can't even prove at all in order to say that, oh no, that's not actually something you're seeing there. And I'm like, okay, so also if it's a mirage, why is it not upside down? Why is that skyline not upside down? Why is it right side up? Well, isn't a mirage, the image of a mirage, upside down? Not to mention, you can see the lights clearly on some of the people that catch these things from that far away. Yeah, that's a mirage, guys. Just so you know.
And got a little wider at the equator than it does at the pole. So it's not actually a sphere. No.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of these have music associated with it. I like the ones that actually have the explanations. Yeah, here's another good one.
Then is the observable, tangible, physical.
This one's a little more scientific and kind of harsh, but not harsh, but yeah. Whole lot to take in. Let me.
I've been making my horizons broader, going on this adventure, searching for now that I'm away.
Somewhere in here.
There's not a glow. NASA
Oh, yeah.
of a fluid at rest is a horizontal plane, because if a part level is resumed, if dammed up then released, the nature of all liquids is to quickly flood outwards, taking the easiest course towards finding its new level. The upper surface of a fluid at rest is a horizontal plane, because if a part of the surface were higher than the rest, those parts of the fluid which were under it would exert a greater pressure upon the surrounding parts than they receive from them, so that motion would take place amongst the particles and continue until there were none at a higher level than the rest, that is, until the upper surface of the whole mass of fluid became a horizontal plane. If the Earth is an extended flat plane, then this fundamental physical property of fluids finding and remaining level is consistent with experience and common sense. If, however, the Earth is a giant sphere tilted on its vertical axis, spinning through never-ending space, then it follows that truly flat, consistently level surfaces do not exist here. Moreover, if the Earth is spherical, then it follows that the surface of all Earth's water, including the massive oceans, must maintain a certain degree of convexity. But this is contrary to the fundamental physical nature of water to always be and remain level.
According to the globe model, the surface of all standing water must have a certain degree of convexity. Based on the alleged globe circumference of about 25,000 miles, the Earth must go further than 9.4 miles. Yes,
So this would be the Black Swan experiment. This one found the horizon to be past a 26-mile oil rig.
1.2 miles.
Yeah. I think
You
this
don't
is
have
a
to be a
slightly
math
different one.
genius
But
to recognize it.
one of them, yeah, there's 6.2, 9.4. One of them actually found one of these rigs. It was 26 miles away, and you can still, like in this one, you can kind of see right here. Here's the bottom of the rig, but you can see the horizon line past here. You got 6.2, 9.4, and then we had at one point, I think this one had an 11.1, but then a different guy had one that was 26 miles away, and he still saw this line past that and this base right here. Way too far.
The problem with the globe here, the visible horizon that was filmed on video extends further than 9.4 miles. Yes, this one single video destroyed.
So this is if you're like right around sea level. So 1.2 miles should be as far as you should see. He puts his camera like right on the shore. I don't know about this specific one, but the Black Swan one, he did it right on the shore. So his view, his horizon line should have been 1.2 miles. So from then on, the horizon line should have started covering this. But yeah, you got 6.2, 9.4, but yeah.
Destroys the globe.
Of course, I
And
found
all
that
the higher propagandists out
lighthouse
there can't save
9.1
it.
miles away.
But I do respectfully take issue with Quantum Eraser, Nathan Oakley, Mitchell from Australia, and the Ballbuster.
Oh, I don't know how I'm in this screen. Minimize. So the only downside of using a portion of a screen is you have to change the size of it constantly. All right. So that is the distance issue. There's a ton of these. Let me see if I have. Hopefully I have it right here. Maybe not. No. So this does have some of them. I have the actual app. It's like $3.99, but if you get the app, oops, it makes it easier to find the videos, and you have like, oh, I wish I could share my phone too, but you can basically go into here and it has all these different questions. And it's like, what about eclipses? What about curvature and boats over the horizon, all that stuff. It has questions. You can click on it and it'll give you a whole bunch of resources, but here's some of it. Yeah, there's the pastor one. I like this one. This is really long, otherwise I would play it, but definitely recommend you guys watching that if you go to this channel and then watch this guy. He relays it to the Bible so well. Satellites, other planets. Here's a good one. I can actually find the
Hey, what's up? Listen, I made over $2.5 million with no...
See if I can find the actual... Meh. There's one experiment I'm looking for that really shows it to you quite well. But the problem is there's so many resources. Here it is. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the channel I was looking for. I need to subscribe to that. There we go.
This is my flat earth counter. It continues on into the far distance. I have my camera filming across the surface, slightly above it. This line here is the path of the sun, and I have this bottle here to show you that it's just over 3 fingers above it. As we go down, we have our tropical forest, we have our blue glass cutting board, and some more mountains, if you will, as the sun continues to the end. 3 fingers, we have a level line. I'm going to flip the camera around, stick it here. I'm going to dim the lights and travel to the sun. Let me move my bottles out of the way. Here we go, my sun. See? And here we go. We follow the sun's path, staying level over our flat, stationary counter plane. We cruise over the lower mountains. Of course, this is not to scale. I can do this much higher if my kitchen was just twice as long. And we will get the same effect. I come to the end, to the firmament, and we stop. There's the camera, still at level, slightly above level, standing on the flat earth. So here we go. I'm going along the sun's path, keeping it level to the flat earth. Heading past the mountains. Now, if this was truly the flat earth, I'd have much more distance to go, and I can even have this much higher to get the same effect. We're just finishing, hitting the firmament, basically. And let's take a look.
So, of course, he's got a straight line. The actual path of it is a circle, but that's just an experiment to show you how it could look like it's setting when it's very actually just going in a straight line on a level plane. But from there, this would be like your mountain range right here, like you said. The bottom of it is going to start to disappear past any kind of blocking over here. And then, say, I don't think it was, I think someone's seen it in Switzerland and a couple other places, but when you get up north, you can actually watch the sun go in a perfect circle. And it never actually
Hello,
goes...
Flat Earth researchers,
Whoa!
debaters, and debunkers. Here's just another...
It never actually goes below the horizon from that point. I forget what they call it. It's the something summer. Northern summer. It would be nice if I was organized. Oh, history. I just watched the... Oh yeah, there's that. Hey, that's cool. I love that it's sitting there for you. There's your ice wall. But But that's not what I was looking for. Here's a good one.
Flat, stationary center of the universe, unquote. Eric is an American living in Thailand, where he teaches yoga and Wing Chun part-time while exposing the New World Order full-time. He is the author of 4 books and is the president of the International Flat Earth Research Society.
Anyway, I just like showing those.
His website,
360 degrees as you watch these.
Which is also linked.
As you watch these cameras rotate around, you get nothing but this right at the eye level. Which is another thing. As you rise up on a flat plane, the horizon's always going to stay right at eye level, versus if you come up on a ball, your horizon should slowly drop. And of course I have an awesome experiment on that. There's no way I'm going to find that today, but this is something you see, like even in the Red Bull jump in his little hatch right here, when you see he's up there. I can't remember how high he went up. It was 100 and something, probably 1,000. It's usually what it is. But right when the camera's sitting right at a midpoint, you can see the horizon right in the middle of the hatch. Shouldn't be a higher horizon at that point. It should be lower than that. But this one has... Oh, here's a good demonstration. So the east to west circumnavigation of the Earth on a flat plane. Once we get to it, there we go. That's the other thing. Here's a good point. Oh, I would have to have like a way to explain it. It said that a compass only works on a flat surface. So if you have, like, say, we'll use this as the Earth as a ball. If you have north up here and south down here, and you have someone standing right here, their compass is obviously going to be level to their ground right here, up and down. Where is the compass going to point? It has to point that direction, but that would force the compass at this point to basically try to dig into the bottom of the compass in order to point in that direction. You can't... I mean, it could point out here into space, but the compass... I'll let this guy show you right here, but...
Vessels put in jail, fined.
Oh, he's not going to have an explanation.
Idaho is an example of this. So
maybe
they just don't want you to go there. The only way you can go there is on their special pre-approved scientific missions.
Okay, yeah, so it's not going to have the explanation with it. But, so on here, this essentially would be... I mean, it looks pretty accurate to the Gleason's map. This would be your Antarctica ice wall right here. And then right in the middle of the north, you have the magnetic north, which you see in the maps would have the mountain, and then I want to say it's like 4 islands surrounding it. But then when you go to like Google Earth, you have this distorted, who knows what's over there, because we don't have actual Google Earth images. It's all this weird messed up stuff. Same with the South Pole. Actually, I should show that in a minute too, but it actually looks like this when you go on the Google Earth and look at it. It looks like they tied images together in a triangle shape like this when you look at it. It's hilarious. It's like edited, like they cut it out. But so anyway, north is always going to point to the center right here. So west, if you take this compass and move it around in this circle, and you'll watch it happen as he does it. Hi, love you. So this west is going to move, and in order for him to go east and west, he's got to correct to the north here. Watch this compass go around this north. So this is how you get from this point all the way around in a circle to this point while traveling east or west. So realistically, they're saying, yeah, I'm only going west, right? Yeah, you're correcting to west constantly because it's constantly going to be pointing to the center where the magnetic north is. So yeah, on a compass, with that compass, you do in fact circumnavigate the Earth just like that. And then he should show you what happens if you try to do it and not correct for east-west and what happens. So he'll show you, this is east and west. If he tries to follow that straight line, it corrects. And eventually, the further out you go, the more you're just going to have south, basically. It's going to be always pointing south out this direction when you come out here. When you pull it away, south is always going to be the ring around it.
These documentaries ever actually show where the North Pole is.
Yeah, so these are going to go through the Suez Canal.
For this is that in the center of the ball Earth, there's molten metal constantly shifting around, so that causes the dipole of the ball Earth to constantly move as well. This is just an excuse so that we can't actually prove that their model is incorrect. There is no magnet in nature that has a molten core and that causes the dipole to move around conveniently the way they talk about. But a magnet that does exist in nature is a ring magnet, like in loudspeakers. And this is the magnetism of the flat Earth we're on, where there's one pole at the center, and the opposite pole is the circumferential barrier all the way around. So the South Pole is everything around the circumference. That's how a ring magnet works, and that's how the ring-shaped Earth with Antarctica as the circumferential barrier works, and the North Pole in the middle. And so they don't want us to know that, and that's why we've got the Arctic and Antarctic treaties, and it's military enforced so that nobody can go out there and prove this conspiracy. However, there are many other ways to prove it. I've just written a book called 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball. So besides just traveling to the Arctic or Antarctic, there's plenty of proofs that we can do right in our backyard to prove that we're not on a spinning ball.
At the end of the interview, I'm going to discuss something that I tried for myself. I just came from Mexico. The forces of the world preventing anyone from entering. The agreement was signed first by 10 countries, including the USA, and now there are 50.
So that's not as good of an image, but we have images that come from these independent, like, weather balloons and rockets that they shoot off that, probably because there's clouds in the way, but you'll find a hot spot. You can kind of see it there a little bit, but there's a hot spot on the Earth from the sun. Obviously, you can see your horizon right here, and this thing's going to rotate around, and it's always going to stay right here. But some of them, we actually have the sun here, and then immediately opposite, we have, like, the moon, 180 degrees from it. That's a slightly rarer footage to get, but that one does exist, and that one's pretty cool. That's that rocket that hit the firmament and turned into that, like, floating in that weird substance. Ooh, is that what I think it is? Okay, yeah, so there's a good experiment you can do. If you want to find out for yourself, where is she? I just saw it. Of course, it's going to take forever. Maybe if I hit play.
25.
So basically, all you have to do is go to, like, Google Earth in your area, like, especially if you're near the ocean, and that would be the most ideal because that's where most of the curvature is supposed to be seen, and the easiest to go from, like, sea level to sea level and not have to do all that crazy math involved and all the mountains and everything that get in your way when you try to look inland. But that right there, basically you could pick two people, find something that's farther away than that you should be able to see. You shouldn't be able to see shore to shore. A lot of people, you shouldn't be able to at like 6 miles, but a lot of people do it more. Like you can see right here, 13 miles. She's got a mirror. So make sure you got some sun and a mirror. Stand here, get someone with a camera from further away, and try to catch that from shore to shore. That should be impossible because there should be curvature involved in that. I don't know if this right here is going to show it,
but that does not.
There's plenty of videos of that.
Limited distance, especially.
Yeah, it's going to go back to that. Yeah, these are clipped videos. I thought I saw something else in here. If this has the kid in it, oh my goodness, that would be hilarious. I don't think it's going to have the voice of the kid in it. Hopefully it has the text of it. There we go. Yeah, it does have at least the text.
Curious.
Children are smart. We'll just put it that way.
As anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks.
So these kids are watching this rocket launch, and they're they're talking to their parents, and they're like kind of panicking because they're watching this rocket come down, and they're telling their parents that the rocket's crashing or it's coming back down. So the parents have to sit there and, of course, do their indoctrination, like, correction, but you can look at this thing.
How come the rocket's not going up anymore? They say,
yeah, that's the kid. That's bad.
Yeah. Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that. And even if they could, you think about it, a rocket needs something to push against.
Yeah,
So
that's what
if
the
you're
kid's
in
saying still on the screen.
non-atmosphere, a rocket, any sort of propulsion, would send you spinning violently like a gyroscope at 360 degrees. There's nothing to push against to send you to the moon or to send you to wherever they claim to be going. You'd just be at the whim of gravity or the whim of space wind or whatever forces are pushing you. You wouldn't be able to do the things that they say they're doing out there in space. What they're really doing is using camera tricks like the movie Gravity. They use green screens and wires. They use zero-G planes doing parabolic maneuvers to fake that they're floating out in outer space. And they use dark pools with LCD screens projecting a fake ball Earth to do outside shots when they're on their spacewalks, as they call it. So just using these simple camera tricks, we've been convinced that they're able to send up rockets into this fake outer space area where you just float around. So satellites are out there in this floaty place they claim exists hundreds of miles up. We can only get about 20, 30 miles up, and any further than that, we just come falling back to the Earth.
So does that really look like it's going into space? Can someone please at least comment on that? What does that look like to you guys?
Claim that they have their special.
Looks like it. Yeah, it's definitely not going into space.
Like, it doesn't really get that far up before you see it like perfectly curved down. And then, of course, we have.
Yeah.
What's the?
Have you seen the bubbles when they do the spacewalk? The bubbles in the videos.
Yes.
They're
Let's
doing
see.
them underwater.
Yeah. Hold up.
You can see the oxygen bubbles coming up out of their tanks every now
Oh
and
yeah.
then.
They have the, what is it called? I don't know the name of it. Let's see. NASA.
Or in the original moon landing videos, the outer space was a sheet hanging there with holes cut in it for stars.
Yep. So this is technically real life space station stuff here. This is what it really is. Bam.
Blue World, Jonathan goes to inner space at NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Lab, where
Yeah, those bubbles. You can actually catch these divers on some of their visors right here. Like they'll pull down their sun visor or whatever, and you can see this guy in the reflection of it. There's a few of them that you can actually see in reflection of like windows and stuff like that on the cupola. So yeah. There's plenty of videos. It's so hard to find them, but they've asked the astronauts about it, and they're like, oh, like paint chips and stuff coming off of the side of the ISS, and it's like, dude, no. Nice try, but no. But this perfectly set up ISS buoyancy lab that has a perfect replica. Let's see. It also has some interesting photos, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find them. Because there is one image. Where is it? I don't know if I'm going to be lucky enough for them to actually turn to look at it. I don't think they would reveal it. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a art depiction. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to find it. But yeah, also on top of that, let's see how long ago it was. Let's go. Astronaut almost drowns in space. So they actually now wear snorkels in space when they do their spacewalks. Because an astronaut almost drowned in space.
Oh my god. So yeah, I mean, that just proves Bible, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's why I was like, I really... Oh, it was the... where was it? That pastor's... That's my history. It was in... here.
NASA is like the modern day Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
NASA means deception, don't it?
Yeah. But if you think about it,
yeah, it was yeah, in Hebrew. I can't remember exactly. I don't know if deception was the word, but it was something like that. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's deception or something to that effect. But
and who's the father of deception?
Satan.
Yeah.
And it looks like the
That's Satan's
tongue, and it's NASA. So like.
Well, not only that, but look at all of their missions. They're all named after Greek gods. Look at what they named all the planets after. Like, they're the ones that got to kind of call everything what they want. Not all of them, but the people, like, early on were also Masons that were determining some of the names of it early on before NASA. So, I mean...
and when you really stop to think about what NASA is about, like, going into space, like the Tower of Babel, what were they doing? They were building a tower to get to God as... like physically, you know what I mean? And that's the same concept.
Right.
What they're trying to do. But at the same time, they're trying to twist everything to where the Bible isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole goal of evolution, pretty much. It's just erase God. Like, if you don't... you get rid of his throne, you make it an infinite universe, and then... say we come from monkeys and the Big Bang and all that stuff, and then you get this what's his name, Morgan Freeman, who's sitting there. Did you guys hear what he said? Somebody asked him about like believing in God or whatever, and he's like, yeah, I believe in myself. Like, wow. That's kind of what they're pushing right now, pretty much. Most of the Hollywood stars, at least, is you ask them about God or anything like that, they'll talk about themselves and put themselves in that position. But yeah, Genesis. Here we go. Let's see.
Verse 1, and we just gonna read a little bit, and I want y'all to just hang tight with me. Amen. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. God called the firmament heaven.
How do you think he flooded the earth? Between what they call asteroids hitting and they have craters. Those, first of all, have no asteroid, no meteorite, no nothing left over, but they are a perfect... like match to geysers, and the mark that geysers leave when the water leaves exactly looks like geysers. We have these massive geysers around that they call asteroid craters, and then we have the explanation here. He opened the heavens when he did the Noah's flood, and all that water, the water above the firmament, came down and helped flood the enclosed earth. How else would you flood a ball? Just asking. Do you flood it to the edge of the supposed barrier that keeps the gases from escaping into the vacuum? Like, how do you flood that ball? It doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. Yeah. Like, first of all, you can't get water to stick to a ball anyway, but that's a whole nother story.
The evening and the morning were the second. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw. Cosmology.
All right.
Cosmology tonight. This is earth. They never did that. All right? I'll call you back tonight. what you believe in, and we're going to go through a series as a Roman invention. Up until the 1500s, I'm talking about BC and AD, up until the 1500s, most modern advanced civilizations did not think the earth looked like this. Forgive me if I sound a little crazy. We the only fools that adopted this. The Hebrews have always believed that the world was three things we're going to cover tonight. The world was fixed, flat, and there was a firmament that surrounded it. Anybody hear me? Fixed, flat, and a firmament that surrounded G. All right? I might need that again, G. Not of me. You're quick to listen to everybody.
I'm going to see if I can find some of the verses he goes over that shows a couple little, like, kind of descriptions that give you, like, for one, when it was Joshua who asked for more time, what did he ask? He asked for the sun to stop, not for the earth to stop its rotation. But there's a few different examples where it does actually tell you that it's a fixed, motionless, like you cannot move. It's an unmovable thing. Like, it would be hard to find this stuff in here. I definitely would say watch this, go through it. He does a really good job.
Oh, God have mercy. What does this thing do to us? This globe, this round earth, this heliocentric system. It gives us a far off concept of God. A far off concept of God. All right? You done seen the pictures of the solar system, y'all? And the Milky Way galaxy. Put them up there for me, sound booth. Amen. You done seen all that. That's how they show us that. All right? And look, I believe that all. All right? Went to college, took classes and all that stuff. All right? Even taught in here some of the tenets of, amen, their system. But I was asleep. And I'm woke now. Woo! You have anything else? Or that's it on the, you got the Milky Way on there too, soundboard? Or that's the, oh yeah, that's how they teach us that. Okay, watch this. When they teach us that, they put so many big numbers, Mr. Lee. The earth is such and such million miles away. It's spinning at this rate. I'm gonna share with you all that in a second. And what happens to normal people when they deal in big numbers, what happens to their brain? Their brain just, it go off. But that's too many numbers, the one? Last night.
So about that numbers thing too, when you ask people, they say, okay, well you can't feel the force, or you can't feel the rotation of the earth. It's like, they'll say like when you're in a car that's moving at a constant speed, or you're on a train that's moving at a constant speed, you don't feel like that movement, which technically speaking is true, but that train has to go at a constant speed. Now, the technical aspect of what they're saying for globe theory is you have the rotation, eastward, westward, whatever rotation of the earth, and you got north and south on the bottom, so you've got that rotation going around. Then you have it going around the sun, and then you have the sun traveling as well, so you've actually got like like 4 different directions at least, not to mention the moon and all these other objects that are like perfectly going around it. But regardless, it's not one direction at a constant speed, and on top of that, it's going in a circle. So in order to maintain that rotation, it has to be constantly speeding up to keep that rotation. And objects that's spinning is slowly going to lose that rotation. But how do I explain that? It's easier to explain when I have like my hands in like demonstration But, and I don't remember the scientific term for it, but technically speaking, when you're moving in a circle and you're keeping a constant speed, scientifically speaking, you're actually in a constant acceleration to keep that constant speed in that circle. So you should be feeling that constant acceleration. Not to mention, what would the clouds do if you had an object, a solid object, spinning at that speed next to an atmosphere that's not connected to the ground? Would you not have the objects next to it? Like, take an actual ball and, like, blow some smoke around it, spin that ball around really fast. What happens to the smoke around that ball? It starts to go in that little rotation around, and it starts to get all messed up, the smoke around that ball, if you were to do that. Same thing would happen with the globe and our atmosphere. The clouds would be reacting to that speed, to that motion of the Earth, which is unprovable. Even Einstein knows it's unprovable, but he even admitted, he tried to find a way to prove it, but he admitted that there was no way to really prove the motion of the Earth, because every test that you do proves stillness. But
I wanted to, just because when he was talking about Genesis, and you were talking about how, you know, the floodgates were opened, or he opened up and flooded from the heavens. I knew I seen some in Jubilees that kind of like expanded on it.
Yes.
So I just wanted to read that. It's Jubilees 5. I am gonna go back to 22 because I want to mention the timing of it, but 22 through like 30 we'll go to just to.
You got a book or on your computer?
It's a book.
Okay, never
Sorry.
You're good.
And Noah made the ark in all respects as he commanded him in the 27th Jubilee of years, in the 5th week, in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month. And then he entered in the 6th year thereof, in the 2nd month, on the new moon of the 2nd month, till the 16th. So this is second Passover when he went into the ark. He went into the ark right before second Passover, the new moon, till the 16th, and he entered and brought into that ark, and Yahuwah closed it from without on the 17th evening. So this is like the timing of that, you know, what would be second Passover. And Yahuwah opened the 7 floodgates of heaven and the mouths of the fountains of the great deep, 7 mouths in number. And the floodgates began to pour down water from the heaven 40 days and 40 nights. And the fountains of the deep also sent up waters until the whole world was full of water. And the waters increased upon the earth. 15 cubits did the waters rise above all the high mountains, and the ark was lifted up above the earth, and it was moved upon the face of the waters, and the water prevailed on the face of the earth 5 months, 150 days, and the ark went and rested on the top of the Luber, one of the mountains of Aret. And on the new moon in the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the water began to descend into the deep below. And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and on the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible. And the waters disappeared from above the earth in the 5th week, in the 7th year thereof, and on the 17th day in the 2nd month, the earth was dry. Yeah, so that's it. Sorry.
No, that was perfect. And if you think about it, the way it worded it, the boat rised up above the face of the earth, above, you know. Sorry. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up real quick.
That's why I like those books. Jubilees is it goes almost anything you read in Genesis. Jubilees goes a little bit further into it.
So this right here. This is essentially what we're looking at, and we have the sun and the moon that rotate in it above it. So that, like, when he was saying, like, that straight line that I showed you, and that demonstration of, like, the sun appearing to set, he showed a straight line. this would have a path that goes in a circle, but when you're standing right here and you're small and your perspective is only so much right here, to you it's going to look like it's going at a little bit of a curve, but mostly straight. But you'll notice that if you follow it, it goes at a little bit of a curve. But it goes around here, and like my dad literally asked me at one point, he was like, well, if it goes and sets in the west, how does it get to the east? Like, it just magically appears in the east. And I'm like, no. It travels this direction, and by the time it comes back around, it is once again coming in. Well, I'm probably going the wrong direction. I don't know. No, yeah. East, west, I don't know. Anyway, but that's what it does. It goes like this, and then you're only seeing, like, someone right here is only seeing this portion of the motion of the sun. So, of course, that's why it doesn't look like it looks almost like it's going in a straight line, because people don't pay quite enough attention to it. But it actually goes a little bit, just like the stars, too. They go at a little bit of an angle, but the further north you go, the more of a circle they'll just make right above the North Star, or right around circling around the North Star, up above the North Pole. But yeah, the problem is people have a problem with perspective, because they forget that they're a tiny little dot on this massive thing, and they forget that they can only see so much above their head. You can't see all this over here. You can stand right here. You're not going to be, even if it were flat, you're not going to be able to see that far, because there's particles in the air. Like when I showed you the video that I made and some of the other videos, you can see like it's cloudy. It's like with those oil rigs. If you took those oil rigs and eventually put them further away, the atmosphere alone would block it, because it would be so thick by that point that you wouldn't be able to see it. You're not going to be able to see an infinite distance for many reasons, even with the telescope, because there's too much stuff in the way to be able to see that far. Not to mention, you got to say, like, if I'm sitting here and I'm looking this direction, there's going to be mountains in the way too. Like there's a lot of things in the way. If you go, that's why I say also to do your experiments at the ocean, because you're going to be able to sit at sea level and watch the objects as they rise or set at sea level. So, but if you live up here somewhere in Switzerland, I can't see it over here, but you can actually watch the sun, because what it does is, depending on the season, so as it travels up here, okay, that'll work. So it does a circuit that changes its distance out like this. So when it's out in a wider circle right here, you're getting the summertime over here. And then as it comes in, and then we'll have winter over here because the sun's further out here. And of course, this is always frozen, and the weather is so harsh at the Arctic because the sun never goes out that far. That's why you've got the Arctic. You can travel to, you can go there, no problem. Antarctic is such harsh weather, nobody can do anything. You can only go so far because it gets so cold that it's inhabitable. It's nothing you can do because the sun never gets out this far. Now, if this were a ball, and the sun from the bottom of the ball, like the top of the ball and the bottom of the ball, is about the equal distance to a 93 million heat source, 93 million mile away heat source, should be heating majority of this equally, top to bottom, but for some reason the climate's here and the climate's here, way different. This is why. Because the sun will come up here and you will get heat over here during summertime, and that's, I can't remember the name of the type of summer they call it in Switzerland, when you can actually watch the sun do the perfect circle right here. But yeah, yeah, it does. Oh, that's the thing, I didn't explain that fully. Yeah, it does a little circle right here. So as the sun goes further out, that's what causes your seasons. So it's got a bigger circle out here, summer here, winter here, comes in, summer here, colder here, you know. Was that one that I was gonna? Yeah.
Course of the earth. God ain't past no Milky Way galaxy. God ain't out there eons and eons away. Oh no, my friend. The Bible say he sit right on top of the earth. And I'm going to show you that in a second. And the Bible say he sits so close, hallelujah, that he could see us. that the inhabitants of the earth are what? Like grasshoppers unto him. He watching us all move around, doing our thing. He read. I'm going to tell you that he's so close. Ooh, God have mercy. He's so close, y'all, that in the end of days, when he rolled back the heavens like a scroll, and when he rolled back the heavens like a scroll, we're going to see that his throne was always right there above us. That's why the Bible says every eye going to see him.
How is this person over here going to see him same time as this person over here? What angle is he going to come in at so that everyone at the same time can see him? Not to mention above. Oh, I don't know, girl. I think I'm pretty much... I could always go all day long, every day. You know me. But...
Yeah, fine.
I don't even know how long we've been on.
I think it's been about an hour, so.
Alright.
Maybe a little bit more.
But yeah. You can also pretty much, I want to say it, you should just be able to Google, like, the biblical... Let me see. Like 200 Bible verses or something prove flat earth. I don't know. There's... Okay, 75. I don't know. I know there was a number. I was like, there's verses you can Google and you should be able to find the verses. Might take a little bit of search, but... And then you can go pull it up in your own Bible, your own version that you like or whatever, and I have no idea what that is. Is that a movie? Oh, there's some. Yeah, here's some of it right here. The one that he brought up right there. But yeah, you can find it. You just gotta actually put the work in to find it. Or you could just go to this thing and watch this guy, because this guy points out a lot of it. So and he's actually got a few different... Yeah, well, it's got a few extra over here on the side from there. Where is my button? There we go. I'm good.
Alright, well, I'm gonna get off here. Good night, guys.
Good night.